Good evening from Vietnam, Richard. Thanks so much for spending your early morning at 7 o'clock in the morning to join our Inside Sharing Show and share your stories to our global audience. And on behalf of the listeners around the world, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Hey, Richard, you've been traveling the world, 90 countries in 5 continents, and then do a lot of works there. You've never been to my country, so please put into your bucket list. You have a new friend, new family here. The next time you travel, we make sure that we take good care of you, all right?
Yes, thank you. But I have done business in your country. Your country is actually quite exploding, and it's lack of better words, because it's not a great word, but it's really, in my view, the next China. It's a safe place for us to do business in the United States. So there can be a lot more of it coming to Vietnam.
Yeah, and I think a lot of companies are now eyeing our country for further expansions and investments.
Yeah.
So I look forward to a bright side of our growth, and it means that there's a lot more opportunity for us to do business together between you and our community here, right?
Yes, sure.
Yes, and for the little taste of our culture, Richard, it's very honor for us to have you to do a little introductions about who you are and the works that you do for our audience. Can you do that for us, please?
Oh, sure. Happy to do so. I've been, I say I've been in the business 65 years because I was born an expat. I was actually born in Japan, and and of expat parents. So I kind of grew up in the global world right from the start. I've been in global business for 45 years, and all that time in human resources. That's my specialty. And traveling the world primarily as a subset of designing employee benefit plans, compensation programs, total reward programs for employees not in the U.S., but mostly for U.S. multinationals, for their employees around the world, and giving advice to the U.S. Committees on how to implement and design those programs in order to attract, retain people. That's really what I do, is attraction and retention.
Well, you have a phenomenal career journey that you introduced to us in less than 2 minutes. So it's not fair for our audience. So let's dive in together to explore the journey together. Is that okay with you?
Of course, yes. Ask me anything. I'm an open book. In fact, I have one of my books here that I
wrote. We're gonna get into the book. Work Smart now. All right.
I have a new one coming out next month, actually. Too.
Oh, really? Yeah. Okay. So we're gonna talk about both of them, but let's travel time together, okay? Because I believe that everything has beginnings. So let's start with the beginnings. When I was young, I always wanted to become an astronaut. Life didn't give me anything near to what I wanted to be, right? So I wonder, Richard, when you was young, what was your dream about your future self, though?
Oh, my future was I wanted to be a playwright.
Playwright.
A playwright. Yep, I wanted to write plays for the stage, the theater, and I loved the theater as a young boy. And like you, didn't have an opportunity to be an astronaut. I didn't have an opportunity to be in the. I wouldn't say it's entirely true. I had written 7 plays, 7 stage plays that have been produced. None of them really broke out to Broadway. One off Broadway, but that was always my dream. Still write, and still have fun with it. But I always kept my day job. I didn't want to get in this. I didn't want to get into this business at all. It was I had to make a living, and then once I got into it, I learned it very well, very easily. It came very naturally to me, and just became successful at it by doing it and learning it and enjoying it.
Well, tell us on what occasion that you get into this profession, though.
Well, I didn't know what I wanted to do. And like I said, I wanted to be in playwriting. And then I thought maybe I could get into advertising, but nobody wanted to talk to me about advertising. And then my father was an HR consultant. He said, do you want to do what I do? And I said, well, not really. It sounds kind of boring. And then he said, well, when you run out of money and you want a job, talk to me. I may be able to talk to some people and introduce you to some people that might be able to get your job. So I ran out of money. And then I said to him, well, can you introduce me somebody that I can interview with? And it was an insurance company, MetLife. And that's how I started at MetLife.
Wow.
And they were kind enough to hire me for $12,500 a year and train me in the employee benefit insurance business. And that's how I learned it. That's where I learned.
And that is 45 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay. So what kept you in that 45 years?
Well, once I started it, I didn't expect it, but once I started, it's a great profession. It's an incredible business. I'm not just talking about the insurance part, but how many businesses can you be in that the more you work, the more money you make, the more people you help? That's human resources. You're really a balance between employer and employee, trying to get both to work together to help each other, essentially. It's very, very fulfilling. There's a lot of purpose and meaning behind human resources.
And your initial dream was playwriting, right? So writing something to play, but didn't make it to Broadway. But you made it onto a bigger world. I think your job also a different kind of playwriting, with writing policy and procedure and stuff like that to help synchronize the system of people for companies around the world. So how do you feel, from the starting and then traveling the world and then expanding your global impact?
Wait, how did I feel?
Yeah, how do you feel?
Oh, terrific. I mean, I still make an impact even after all these years. I'm on the board of directors for the American Benefits Council in Washington, D.C. I'm on a work panel for World at Work. I'm the senior global advisor for Alliant Employee Benefit Services. I've constantly been called to do work and to expand my knowledge and help people with them, mostly young people. That's what I like to do now, is help them in their careers. So I'm doing an awful lot of that.
Yeah.
Still very, very active.
And it's all started with your father introduced you to somebody who introduced you to an interview with MetLife, right?
Yeah.
And then you was you were very what we call is a newbie back then. From there until now is a huge difference. So teach us where's the aha moment in your life, and along the way, how did you capitalize those aha moments though?
Okay, well, I think first that very individual. I know people get into human resources and they don't like it, and then they move on to something else, or moreover, they're just not good at it. And you need to have a combination in yourself of enjoying something and then also being good at it. And then finally, somebody that wants those skills from you, an employee of some sort, or like me, I started with employer for many years, then went out on my own business and started my own business. And that's not for everybody either. That's a different individual. I kept getting positive feedback from the work I was doing. And so I wanted to learn more about it. And then when you get positive feedback, you enjoy things more. And if you enjoy things more, you'll get more positive feedback, and you'll study more and you'll learn more. And it's really based on an individual, essentially. Some people want to go. I remember I was at a gas station, petrol station. I don't know what they call them in Vietnam, but you fill up the car with gasoline. And there's training. One person was training the other, and he said to him, "This is the easiest job you could possibly have. You barely have to do anything. All you have to do is put the tank in the tank, the pump in the tank, press the button, and then the machine does everything else. You don't have to do this with the pump. It's the easiest job. And you can almost not make a mistake. And so I thought to myself, wow, that's what that person was after, the easiest job that they could possibly do. And that's an individual choice. And then there's other people like me that want something more complicated, more interesting. The more complex, the better. And how more complex can you get than the human mind and the human being and motivation and attraction and retention, all those things, than human resources. And so it's very, very appealing to me. And now with AI, it's a whole, first it was a whole new world with the internet, which I experienced. I mean, I'm old enough now that I remember in Switzerland when women got the right to vote. Okay, goes all the way back to 1972, and then the internet came along. I was part of that, and that began. And now with the AI, that's like the new internet to me. There's a whole much to learn, and it's an incredible opportunity for growth there for everybody.
Wow. You mentioned that you always want to aim at something bigger, right? Because it's the individual choice. Was there anybody in your life being a role model for you like that?
Oh, certainly. And for me, there were several people, certainly a few, that I'm so grateful for, because you really can't go, you can't learn without somebody being, a mentor. And I had Bruce Spencer, who helped me, who's now, I think, 90 years old, and he's still a good friend of mine. And then I have Fred Moran and Art Moran from the Met Life days that were just really good people that helped me all along the way and wanted me to learn and wanted me to be a better man and a better human resources person.
Yeah.
So certainly you have to have that.
In our culture, if they want to do that, mentoring, coaching for you, it means that you also have to have the mentality ready for them to do in that also. What did you do well that attract their interest to support you to grow over these years up until now, Richard?
I think what I did well, it was I remember it was a famous, I don't know about famous, but a very wealthy fund manager, money manager. He said, I said to him, I asked him, I said, how do you differentiate yourself from others in the business of money and making people money? Because it seems to me, one basis point, somebody would go to somebody else instead of you, and because it's only about money and the person making more interest on their money. And he said, no, it's not that way at all. That first they have to like you. Then they have to trust you. And then if you make them some money, that happens to be a very good bonus. But even in the money business, they have to like you. And this is what I'm a fairly likable person. That people seem to like me. People trust me, certainly, because that's my integrity is the most important thing. And then I help them in their business too. And that's the third part. That's the least important thing. So if you're a likable person and you're trustworthy, you'll go a long way.
Richard, how could you build the caliber and the capacity for you to be able to counsel many different companies in many different backgrounds in the industry around the world like this?
Well, first I have affiliate offices, strategic partners in over 90 countries. So the real specialists are like you on the ground in Vietnam. So when I need to know something about Vietnam, I call you or email you, of course. The calling is less and less. It used to be in the old days, it used to be telex and then fax machines and phone calls, and now it's email. And that's fine, things progress that way. And by the way, that's also very important. As you grow, you got to grow with technology. If you leave that behind, you just left yourself very much behind, not just in work, but in life in general, because life doesn't stop and technology is not stopping. That train is taken off and that's going very, very fast. So I have the basic knowledge of human resources and basic knowledge in each country. And then I rely on my local affiliates for in-depth knowledge. And then I learn that way. And then that's how I help my clients around the world.
If you rewind your 45 years in the industry and figure out a few points that lead into your success, right? What would be those few things now?
Well, one is luck.
Luck. Wow, that's a beautiful answer. Okay.
Yeah. It's funny that my brother would say, the luckier he gets, the smarter he is, right? So you've got to find yourself, and I'm not sure I really believe in luck, because you put yourself in positions that create luck, right? You study and you learn, and then you meet people that have of like kind. You meet people like you, and then you meet somebody else, and it feels like it's luck, but you're really driven that entire process all the way through. So the tips I have for people it's hard to say because everybody's so individual. I can only say for me is like I said, I've always been a likable person. I've always, because I enjoy listening to people, I enjoy hearing about their lives, and I'm trustworthy and authentic. And those are the two. By the way, you can't be that. You can't. It's really hard to change those things. Those are real character traits that somebody has or they don't. And when you meet somebody, you know pretty early on whether you're going to do business with them or you're going to have a friendship with them, because there's a connection. Some people call it chemistry. And then you can only trust somebody over time.
Yeah.
You know, just by experience, by being with them, by seeing how they work. But you have those two ingredients. That's all that really matters in life in general, not just in business. Likability and authenticity.
And you know, you're making a lot of great connections with people around the world where, you know, people say, you know, having good relationship is having great assets, right? There's a lot of people really afraid of, you know, knock on the door and connect with a new person. And then you connect with so many people. Teach me and my audience how we can have a, you know, an open approach to connect with new people though.
The best way you can connect with a new person is say, how can I help you? What can I do for you? That's all. And then if you want something from them, it's harder. And not only that, it's much harder today because it's really hard to get through to people. If you're a salesperson, for example, really hard because there's so much spam going on. I don't answer my phone if I don't recognize the telephone number anymore because all those robot calls, and now I get robot texts all the time. It's really hard to know who's real and who's not. And then I've been scammed too out of money. So it's a harder time to trust people. And way back when you had in your community, and I don't know how small your community is, but everything was a small community at one point. And everybody knew the neighbors, and the neighbors helped each other. And if you were the shoemaker, for example, you made darn certain those shoes were good shoes because the neighbor was going to wear them. And then the neighbor was going to tell that neighbor, and then that neighbor. So it was really important, the quality of product. Today, things have gotten so far away from the customer that there's so much of an emphasis on cheap and price than there is quality, because you're not going to ever see that customer as a selling a product. And so it's a lot harder today to build trust. It's not your neighbor anymore. It's not somebody you're going to see. You're selling basically from one corporation to a small person somewhere in Vietnam, and you want their money. So the best thing a person can do is say, what can I do for you? How can I help you?
Wow, beautiful. How can I help you? What can I do for you? I will do it to one person tonight. So he's a professor that writing this book from Stanford. So Jonah Berger. And I will ask him, how can I help him? Because I always wanted to work with this gentleman. I will say, Richard Polak asked me, you know, teach me how to do this. All right. I appreciate. Yeah. My next question is about you again, and then we move to the book, okay, for the second part of the conversation. So if you had a chance to talk to yourself when you broke, had no money, ask your father for an introduction, and if you had a chance to meet you, you know, back then and talk to yourself, what message would you say to yourself?
Well, very interesting. Boy, nobody's ever asked me a question like that. What would I say to myself?
Yeah.
I'd probably say, it's okay. You're going to be okay. Because I was very nervous about working and doing something I like. I had very little direction. Only reason I went to my father is because he was in this field, but I didn't have a mentor as a young man. I had it once I got into business. If I could say something to myself, it's going to be okay. Don't worry. the Almighty or the universe, it's going to take care of you. Just make the effort. You know, I say to my own children, and I'm fortunate to have 3 children, I say, all you can do in life is make your best effort. The results are not up to you.
Yeah.
But you just make your best effort, and then something will happen in your favor. You don't know what it's going to be. It may go in another direction you're not even expecting. But if you make no effort at all, you know exactly what's going to happen.
Beautiful. Thank you. And I wish that we can talk to other people a lot like you talking to yourself. Is going to be okay. So try to, get better and work harder, and then things will be, the way it is, right? A lot of us don't have that courage to talk to people now these days, to tap on their shoulder and say it's okay. So I'm wondering what happened to us now.
Well, we can get back there by doing what you're doing. You're helping the world. You really are. We'll get
Thank you
back
for
there.
saying so. Thank you for saying so. Richard, I met a lot of executives around the world, a lot of very high senior executives for, the Fortune 500 companies, Fortune 100 companies. And two things that commonly I found in our conversation with them was, one, they wanted to start their own business because they'd be able to run $1 billion business. Right? They thought that they could run their own company. And I always encourage them that they can always do it when they decided to do so. Second was writing a book, sharing their experience. So you've been running your own company, sold the company, you've been writing your book, and then you're gonna have a second book coming in about a month's time. All right. So congratulations for that. Tell us, since when you have the passion to write?
Well, remember, I was always wanted to be a playwright, so I've always written, right, to the theater. So I enjoy the writing. And then I was waiting until I knew enough to be able to write a book on business that might be helpful to others. And that's how I got to that point. I am, I was thinking that this next book's written, but I have a third book. And if today with AI, if you write down it's not hard to do now with AI. You write down what you want to write about, and then you ask AI to write your notes into a book form, and it will do it. So you just need to have in your head. It's not going to write what's in your head. You write down what you want to write. It will even break out chapters for you, give you ideas to do so, and then it will do the hard work, which is sitting there and actually spending hours of writing. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's not plagiarism, but you have to check it, of course, and it depends what kind of book you're writing. But if you give it ideas of what you want to write about, it will help you write that book now going forward. And I think that's a big help to everybody.
Yeah. I think people see AI as a threat. Some people see AI as a powerful weapon. I see it as a powerful weapon for us to leverage the technology for our benefits, daily benefits, and I think this is good. And you have 2 books in place. One already introduced. One is about to come. Which one you want to talk tonight?
I think I'll talk a little bit about Work Smart now, but the new book is very exciting because it's an out of the box book.
Okay. All right.
I wish I had I have a book cover for it. I may be able to share on the screen. Can I do that?
Absolutely.
Because it will, let me see how the best way to do this is. I'm not sure I can, not.
You should be able to share screen.
Oh, there's the share button. Okay.
Yeah.
So let me pull it up here because it will be very different than what you're expecting. Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah, right. And I'll probably be speaking on it. Hold on. Okay. I know because I've spoken on my other books and knows that. Oh, now it's asking me to quit and reopen, so I could be able to do that without disconnecting us. Oh, wait a minute. Here it is. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
See,
Sorry. Legend of the what?
The Legend of the Ishkadis.
Iskadish. Alrighty. What is the Iskadish?
Okay, so now when I said this is out of the box, this is really a story. It was a bedtime story I started to tell my son. That grew into a book, and every night I would tell him a little bit of the story, and then I'd go up and type it up in my computer. And before I knew it, I had a book. I'm really encouraging every parent to do this to their own children. And this book happens to be about the head of Total Rewards for a company located in Singapore and his struggle as an expatriate and his family there and his relationship with his son and a very, very ill wife that they go off to Thailand to search for these Ishkadis. You can see the pink elephant, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and the little boy there. And he's an artistic, not autistic, an artistic boy who can make incredible drawings. What he's done was create these drawings that come to life in the jungle in Thailand. And the Ishkadis are made of pure love. And if he's able to get one of those and bring it back to his mother, he'll be able to save her life. That's the essence of the book.
So every story there was a story that you read to your son or you talked to your son back then, and then you combine them to become a book.
A book, but it's also very, very human resources related because it's all about relationships. That's why I said it's a book. It's out of the box. In taking the relationships in the book, the father and his father, the grandpa and the child, the wife and the husband, co-workers, right? The father and the grandfather, superior reporting structure, a child who is somebody you want to mentor. All these are the lessons of the book. That is no different than the dynamics that go on into an office. Everybody has a boss, everybody has a coworker, everybody has somebody younger, and everybody wants, the whole point is you bring that Ishkadi together, which is love, amongst you in your office. Everybody's going to grow together and become greater people. And that's what I'm trying to say through a book in a different way. So it's fiction. It's not a prescriptive book like Work Smart Now or any of those other books you have on your shelf, but it's a different way of looking at improving the workplace. I'm trying to do something out of the box, basically.
Wow. How did you come up with that idea, though, to write something that out of the traditional HR framework to write a stories instead?
Here's what I think.
Hmm.
I think every single one of us has that ability to do that. All we have to do, like if you're going to tell your child, most of us read published books to our children at bedtime, right? What if you just sat there like I did and just say, want me to tell you a story? And the child, sure, tell me a story, Daddy or Mom. And then you think of a story and whatever comes in your mind, you start building a story from that. You look around the room, you say, see that bedpost? That wasn't always a bedpost. That bedpost came from your grandparents 100 years ago. And you know what that bedpost has seen? Your grandmother was a little girl. She also had a mother and a father like this. And then you go on and tell your story as you would, but you start with an open mind and you pick something out in the room and then you create a story all around it or whatever comes in your head. And I think everybody can do this. And it creates a special story for you and your children that's between just you and that child. That's what I want to encourage people to do.
Wow. That's very improvised though.
Yeah,
pick anything.
Yeah. And it may take a little time and it may be harder to do in the beginning, but if you let yourself go, we all have the capabilities to create a story for our children.
So what is that the book is about? You know, if you pick one thing in the book that you want to share with us, you know, what would that be?
Well, it's love, and that's
love.
what the Ishkadis are. The Ishkadis, you can't touch love, you can't grab it, you can lose it, but you don't know where it is. And you know what it is exactly, but it's in every one of us. And that's the basis of the story. That's the basis of all of life to me is love. And it's in every single one of us. It's not just us, it's also in every animal, every living creature. It's the only thing that keeps us all together. Even though there's a constant downward pull from every one of us as well to not to go towards the love, to go towards the darkness. And some of us, sadly, fall into that space. Then once you fall into the darkness, and you see this in all these hero movies, it's really hard to get out of it. You see it in the world, in these horrible, horrible governments, you know, and how they treat the people. These megalomaniacs, these egomaniacs, and so on. They didn't start that way. They started as babies.
Wow. So what happened that you picked the relationship, the love, to be the second book and write about that though?
I struggled in my relationship with my father.
Oh.
So I had a son that I didn't want to have the same relationship that I had with my father. And so I wanted to create something special between us. And it was still a struggle with my son because I didn't know how to parent a son because I didn't have great parenting myself. So I had to relearn and learn how to be a parent. And thank God I had a good wife who helped me direct me how to do that.
Did he know that you wrote this book? A part of that is for him?
Oh yeah, he knows about it. Yeah.
Did he read it?
In fact, it's his name in the book. His
name's on the book.
The little boy's name is Emmett, and that's my son's name. Yeah.
What's his name?
Emmett. E-M-E-T.
E-M-E-T. Emmett. All righty. His name is strange. I never heard. I never seen the name. So.
Oh, it means in Hebrew it means truth.
Truth. Okay. Tell him that he has a wonderful father who's struggling, but then he's trying every day to make it right. So like you say, just try to get better every day and the result will come, right? So
yeah, thank you. I'm trying every day. And that's what it takes every single day.
Well, I admire you for that courage to make right. So thank you. I had two last questions before we end the conversation today. All right.
Well, wait, can I hear about your life at all?
Huh?
Can I hear about you?
Absolutely. Absolutely. What do you want to hear from me?
Do you have children? Do you have a family?
I have three. My daughter, she's in the States for her psychology major at the moment. My other two children, we will send to the States, one next year. Oh, one this year and one in 2 years. So for them to study high school.
Where are they?
They're in Seattle.
Oh, well,
yes.
How can I help them?
Wow, wonderful, wonderful. Well, I'll connect my daughter to you, and I'll ask her how can she be a service to you. So
sure,
let's put it that way.
Very happy. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very, very much for asking. So, Richard, my wife and I, we have a personal project that we want to help people to improve their ability to think, because we believe that with so many noises today, our ability to think has been diminishing. So it's not increasing, but it's decreasing. You have a phenomenal career, and every day you're trying to get better. So there's a lot of thinking process in between every day for you over the years. We want to pick your brain on how have you been doing to expand your ability to think. Share with us the secrets, please.
Well, you know, you mentioned your daughter studying psychology.
Yes.
I'm a big supporter and proponent of therapy, and that helps open your mind. Along the way, and that's part of the book too, that once you hit 9 years old, your soul gets chipped from the world. The reality hits in, it becomes harder to become pure. Until 9 years old, you're very, very mostly pure soul. And so as we get older, we get chipped away. And and then it clouds our vision. It's like a car going, an older car. The headlights get so fogged up from being so old and so long and not clean. Therapy will clean all that stuff out in you, give you a lot more clarity. We'll get rid of the things that are holding you back. And the highest level of that would be psychoanalysis, where you go very, very deep into your mind, and you just get a lot of clarity. And once you get clarity, it really is the difference between a cloudy sky and a perfectly blue sky. You can see things you couldn't see before that were holding you back. Some of us are sadly are so at that point damaged or chipped or whatever that they become addicts or alcoholics. I'm not even talking about them. I'm talking about each one of us as individuals can benefit from opening ourselves up through clarity, through therapy, from a licensed professional who's able to get in there. Not your friend, not your wife, but a licensed professional that can really clear out your mind so that you can be even more successful and do what you want to do.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you. The last question. Normally we ask about your future, all right? But this time we're not going to ask about your future, okay? Because I want to be at service to you, all right? So if we can transfer one message to Emmett, your son, and what would be that message you want to send to him?
Be a good man. Strive to be a good man. Like I say, I have also a younger son. I said, what do you want to be when you grow up? And he said, I want to be a big man. I said, no, you don't want to be big. You want to be a good man. So when I ask you what you want to be when you grow up, you want to be a good man. Because in the end, that's really all that matters. In my book, one of the first lines I say, time is your second most important asset. And why? How could time be your second one? It seems so much more important. I said, because your integrity is most important. Because if you don't have integrity, you don't have character, then you really don't have time. You've had nothing. So be a good man.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Out of many, many messages that I received through interview, this is one of the best. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very kind of you to say so. And I'm serious about your daughter or any child you send over. I'm happy to help any way I can. And I think you know that anyway from listening to me for an hour.
Yes. Yeah. I got it. Thank you very much. I'll be in California later this year. I'll be to Europe earlier, but then I'll be in California for my friends' reunion. I'll definitely ring you up there and go and see you, your wife, your 3 children also. Okay.
Oh, great. Love that. Thank you.
If you guys travel to Asia, make sure you travel to them.
I'll look you up. I'll find you.
Bye, my friend. Have a wonderful day there.
Thank you. Thanks for all this. Thanks for what you're doing. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much.